Well, my name is Jeffrey Grossman, and I'm started practicing acupuncture in 1998. And my background is that of communications, advertising, and as a graphic designer. And when I started my practice, I ran into a few sort of pitfalls and struggles, and that was how to really market my practice, grow my practice, and attract new patients. And I really struggled with a lot of that, and I understand. And I've been helping practitioners since 2002 through my company called Acupuncture Media Works, attract new patients and effectively educate patients with patient education. The thing is, though, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but you absolutely need a call to action. And so what is a call to action? Basically, a call to action is something that you come up with that gets people to take action, to actually step from the talk or the screening or the event into your practice. So you could do as much marketing as you want to, but if that person doesn't, if they're like, yeah, sure, I'll come see you, thanks, I'll take your card, that's not going to do anything, right? But if you have something that you can hand them that's motivating and that you communicate to them in the right way, and I'll show you what I think the right way is, what's worked for me, then you can actually up your chances of actually making those events more fruitful for you. And why use a call to action? Well, because if you don't have a way to make your patients take action, then you're just spinning your wheels. You're just, like I did that initially when I started doing my health fairs. I didn't have a really good call to action, and I would just be spending this money, and I'd be like, I just spent $250 on these 2 events, and I'm like, no, I got like 2 patients, So I needed to really come up with, me paying on, those fees was my motivation of figuring out how to cover my costs for my health fairs and my screenings. And I'm going to talk about what they can be and where and when to use them. So different types of call to actions can be like a mini stress reduction treatment. I'm a huge proponent of that, huge, because it gets people into your practice, they get to see you, get to check you out, they get to try acupuncture, they get over their fear of needles, and they get to really experience it because you're using 0.0 Shen into the ear. So, and a lot of people are stressed out. So if you could really kind of get them in and be like, hey, I want to, I want to offer you a mini stress reduction treatment. Is that something you'd be interested in? Be like, sure, yeah, okay. So it's, really gets people motivated. A discount on services is something that you can offer too. If you, can discount your first visit or your initial exam or if you have a consult or something like that. A reduced rate, initial rate visit. So same thing as, I guess, discount on services. Discount on herbs. If you're selling herbs and that are specific for particular conditions or whatever it is, maybe you might want to offer that. And maybe other services would be something like if you have a massage therapist that you network with, maybe they'd be willing to give you a discount or a coupon or a gift certificate for a discounted rate on a service that they offer that you can offer to your patients or give to your patients or friends. But I found that the best call to action for me was using a mini stress reduction treatment. That's really been the most helpful in my practice. And one of the things that's really important is when I was at a health fair, people would come up to me and they'd see my book and they'd say, oh, gross. What are those things? I'm like, well, those are tongues. And as an acupuncturist, the tongue is a barometer and a reflection of our internal health. And then I'll ask them, I'll be like, have you ever noticed if your tongue changes color or thickness when you have a cold? And I'm surprised that a lot of people actually notice that. I'm really surprised because most people are like, yeah, I noticed that. And then I'd say that, well, as an acupuncturist, I use the tongue and other diagnostic techniques to help me determine what's wrong and how I can help you. And then they'd be like, whatever they would say. I'd be like, so are you interested in learning more about acupuncture? And if they say yes, I'd be like, well, great. I'd love to give you, this is one of my call to action cards that I've used. Well, I'd love to offer you this card to come on in. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. So I'd be like, so I'd love to offer you a card to come on in for a free mini stress reduction treatment. Do you feel like you ever get stressed out or anxious? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Be like, well, great. If I give this to you, will you use this? And that's important because, you know, you could be like, oh, here, great, come on in, see you, bye. Oh, here, great, come on in. You're just like throwing this energy out there, right? But if you actually say, you know, if I give this to you, will you use it? And that's also something that, you know, I also say that too. And when I hand these to my patients for referrals, so when somebody comes off the table and they're feeling, you know, really good and they're feeling really shifted, that's the best time to ask for a referral, right? They're coming off the table, they're like, wow, I feel really good today. Be like, great. You know, so I'd be like, so Amy, do you know anybody else who I might be able to help with some acupuncture? If you do, I'd love to give you these cards to hand out for a free mini stress reduction treatment. She'd be like, great, that's awesome. I take them. I'd be like, well, you know, if I give them to you, will you actually hand them out to people? And that's okay to ask because some people have said no in the past. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll just hold them and give them to somebody who's going to use them. But if you ask them if they're going to actually use it, then they're a little more committed for that process, and that's important. So this is a card that I've used in my practice. It's a fold-over card, so it's the inside of it right here. This is the outside and the back. So basically, when I'm at a health fair, I'll hand them this card. I'll be like, I'd love to invite you to come on in to try a free mini stress reduction treatment. Normally, I charge $20 for it, but since you stopped by my table today, or since you came to the talk today, I'd love to offer it to you for free. If I gave this to you, would you use it? And they'd be like, sure. I'd be like, great. Let me validate this, and I would put I would sign it, by putting the date in there. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'd say, great, so let's go ahead and get you scheduled for a time. So I have my schedule book right there. I have everyone's name blocked out, who's ever on the book. And then, I make a copy of it and bring it with me. I'm like, so great, let's get you scheduled. Come on in for a free 15-minute treatment. And then, what works for you? I don't really even give them time to think about it. I say, hey, let's get you scheduled for a free 15-minute treatment. What works for you? And so they're like, okay, Tuesday at 5:15. So I'll be like, okay, what's your name, phone number, put it on there. And then the phone number's there for me to give them a pre-call the day before. And then I'd put the date and the time on here, and then when it expires. And that's sort of how I validate the card for them. And then they take this and they go home, and I call them up the day before, and they come on in for that treatment there. I'd say with the pre-call and with the session here, I'd say probably about 65 to 70% of the people show up, which is really good. That's why pre-calls, I think, are really important for these events, because they're getting a free mini stress reduction treatment. So these are other types of call to action cards, which is a gift certificate that you can hand out at the end of a talk or whatever it is, or even in a letter that you send out to people. You could be like, hey, I have a couple, gift certificates. I'd love for you to share these with anybody that you know. Here's and stick them in the envelope or something like that. Here's another card that I've used in the past. Stress-free me acupuncture treatment. It entitles the holder to a free stress reduction treatment. It's just sort of a different iteration of the other card here. And this is one that I've used, well, not this one, but this is a Friends and Family Health Pass. So this is also something that I've used at health fairs too, to get people to come on in for a complimentary health evaluation. And I found that the health evaluation wasn't as effective as coming in for a mini stress reduction treatment, so I moved from handing this kind of card out here to the stress reduction cards. And this was another card that I used here for a discount off their initial visit. And this was not as effective as the free session here. So this basically says that this card entitles you to a comprehensive evaluation, a complete acupuncture diagnostic exam, a treatment, and a follow-up report of findings detailing everything that you need to know about your health according to Chinese medicine. And the price is $57, original price $167, and so I use this as well in the early years of my health fairs, but I found really that using this was the call to action card was the best. But I really encourage you guys that you really need to have some type of call to action card that you could use in so many different situations. People get off the table. You could ask for referrals. If I give this to you, will you use it and share it with your friends and family members? You know, at the end of a talk, you know, I'd say, so if you guys, thanks for coming to my talk today. I really appreciate you guys being here. And if anybody wants to learn more about acupuncture, come see me. I have 5 of these health passes left. And it's for a free mini stress reduction treatment. So if any of you are stressed out or anxious, I'd love to give these guys to you for free. So come check out with me afterwards. And they'd come up, get rid of them.